Thank you, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Deputy Prime Ministers, Honorable Ministers, the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, Nisa Mbulwinaka, and a very good evening to you all. Honorable Speaker, I rise in support of the 2025-2026 national budget. This is not just our third budget as a coalition government. It is a reaffirmation of our promise to lead with courage, clarity, and continuity. In the early days, many doubted us, Honorable Speaker. Some said we would never last. Others predicted gridlock. But through dialogue, discipline, and determination, we have continued to deliver. Our government has stayed the course. We have put our people first, and we have laid down a foundation of hope and of stability. This budget reflects a future-focused Fiji, anchored in security, driven by principle, and lifted by purpose. We came into government not claiming perfection, but as Franklin D. Roosevelt once said, and I quote, "Governments can err, presidents do make mistakes, but the immortal Dante tells us that divine justice weighs the sins of the cold-blooded and the sins of the warm-hearted in different scales. Better the occasional fault of a government that lives in a spirit of charity than the consistent omission of a government frozen in the eyes of its own indifference." Unquote. Honorable Speaker, we are not frozen. We are moving. And as Roosevelt also said, his generation had a rendezvous with destiny. I believe ours does too. Our destiny is to secure peace at home, stand firm in the region, and rise together as one nation committed to dignity and justice for all. Honorable Speaker, we are emerging from a difficult chapter in our democratic story. Fiji has known what it is like to be ruled by fear, by the dominance of two men, and by the erosion of institutions. But, Honorable Speaker, that era is over. We are building a new democratic culture, where the voices of the many rise above the ambitions of the few. Our democracy is still young, still fragile, but it is growing stronger. Every consultation, every budget, every peaceful debate in this House is a small triumph for the people of Fiji. And in this democratic renewal, the role of women and young people is essential. We must not only protect their rights, but elevate their voices. In defense and security, that means creating new pathways for leadership. Inclusion and service. A secure Fiji must be an inclusive Fiji. We are committed to building a defense and security sector that reflects the diversity and the strength of our nation. The rule of law remains the cornerstone of our security and governance. The Republic of Fiji military forces, under this government, continues to uphold that principle with discipline and with honor. We are clear. Civilian authority governs this nation. And the men and women of our military have accepted this with pride. We respect our Constitution and defend our democracy. The RSMF will continue to have a vital and relevant role in Fiji's future. This includes not just military readiness, but also national resilience. That is why we are moving ahead with the Nduawata Leadership Framework, allowing the RSMF to help train our traditional leaders and young people to lead with integrity, discipline, and patriotism. We have seen this in action. During my recent visit to the Middle East, I met with our peacekeepers serving under the United Nations and the multinational forces and observers in the Sinai in Egypt. They serve not for glory, but for the principles of peace and for justice. From them, I was reminded that peace is not a gift. It is a responsibility, Honorable Speaker, and it must be taught, cultivated, and defended. This budget supports that mission. We are investing in peacekeeping, in border protection, and in veterans' welfare. We are funding the work that keeps our people safe and upholds our commitment to both. The development of the National Security Strategy and the National Security and Defense Review is a turning point in our national story. These are not just technical documents, they are a call to the people. We will not build security behind closed doors. We will take this vision across the islands to communities, chiefs, civil society, and youth. Because real security is not imposed, it is shared. We're also working on the Maritime Security Strategy, a blueprint to defend our oceans, our blue economy, and our sovereignty. This is vital for food security, border integrity, and regional cooperation. And on this note, Honorable Speaker, I wish to reflect on the wider region. Security partnerships will continue to define our strategic posture. We are not aligned to any one power. We are aligned to the interests of the Fijian people. That means working constructively with all our partners. We thank Australia and New Zealand for their unwavering support. Australia, in particular, remains a vital partner under the renewed and elevated Wawale Partnership. As the Prime Minister has said, this is not about control. It is about cooperation. It is about friendship. It is about partnership. We also welcome the growing role of India in the Pacific. India has shown deep respect for our sovereignty and has brought not just resources, but relationships built on trust and shared heritage. From defense training to humanitarian assistance, their footprint is growing, and rightly so. Our partnerships are global. France, Japan, the United States, Indonesia, China, and others. Each brings something different. Each, when guided by transparency and mutual respect, can contribute to our collective peace. I also wish to inform this House that discussions on the direct recruitment of Fijians into the Australian Defence Force are well underway. This is a forward-looking initiative with the potential to change lives and deepen our security ties. The Ministry of Defence is working in close coordination with the Prime Minister's Office, the Ministry of Labour, the RSMF, and the Australian Government to ensure that we get this right. It is a pathway to opportunity, to skills, and to service. The Ministry of Defence is evolving. We are moving from being reactive to being strategic, from quiet administration to active engagement. We are now the central agency for security coordination across government. And we will continue to build capacity in policy, intelligence, veteran care, and regional engagement. We serve the nation, and we are ready to do more. Let me also take a moment to reflect on our traditions and the strength that they provide. The recent installation of the Tuneau, a deeply symbolic moment for the Vanuatu and to Fiji, carries national importance. When our traditional institutions are affirmed and respected, our unity as a nation is strengthened, Honourable Speaker. The security of our country is not just physical, it is cultural, communal, and spiritual. When we honor our chiefs and the Vanua, we reinforce the values that hold us together as Fijians. Honourable Speaker, and if you will allow me, may I, on my behalf and on behalf of my family, I would like to wish Nanganiturambal Tuneau, Sandibunolau Natilau, a very close friend of mine, Prokotevi Tulila Kemba. I want to wish him prayers and blessings on his installation as the paramount chief of the Vanuatu and the people of Lau. Honourable Speaker, I've known this young chief for almost 40 years, intimately. We go a long, long way back. I want to share with you, and I hope that one day he will listen to this speech and he will also hear, and someone will tell him. When we were doing our officer cadet course, one day we came back, in the same course was the leader of the opposition and I. We were trying to get a commission, a short commission into the Republic of Fiji Military Forces back in 1988. So after we did our worship, we were sharing a Tanwa Yangona. And so we were talking to the young chiefs that were in the room. There were three of them, including Rokolui. And so we shared with him that his name may be Mara. But we told him on that day that that day is his legacy. And it is his legacy that I would like to wish upon my friend, to build his legacy as being the newly installed chief of Lau. And I want to leave with him a word from a very famous Fijian who spoke to the Great Council of Chiefs on the 6th of June, 1997, the late Honourable Justice Jairam Reddy. And this word I would like to leave. I'm going to turambal tilau, sendibunolau, turang the tineo. And I quote Honourable Reddy, speaking to the chiefs, he said, "Chiefs of Fiji, with the greatest respect and humility, I submit that you chiefs are not just for Fijians, but of all the people of Fiji. And with that goes my best wishes and the best wishes of my family to Rokolui and to his family, and I wish him all praise and blessings as he leads the people of Lau into the future." And Honourable Speaker, as we look to the future, let us also remember those who have worked with us. I want to acknowledge the late Honourable Watim Real. He was more than a colleague to me, he was a friend to all of us. A gentle soul with a firm commitment to the land and to the people, and his absence will be deeply felt. Honourable Speaker, we must also continue the national conversation about reconciliation, about truth, about healing. If we are to be a strong democracy, we must face our history and forge unity not through silence, but through understanding. The process of truth and reconciliation must be continued, so we leave no wound ignored and no injustice forgotten. And finally, Honourable Speaker, I return to the vision of our Prime Minister, the ocean of peace. It is more than a rhetoric. It is our original offering. It is our destiny. A Fiji that is not just neutral, but active in building peace. A Pacific that is not a chessboard, but a sanctuary. This budget, Honorable Speaker, strengthens that vision. It supports the people who make it real, from soldiers to teachers, from veterans to villagers. To all our development partners, Australia especially, I say thank you, not only for your generosity, but for your respect. And I would also like to thank the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, the Honourable Biman Prasad, our Minister for Finance, and the dedicated team behind this budget. Their tireless work, clarity of vision, and the commitment to service have made this national statement of priorities possible. And Honourable Speaker, I conclude, this is a budget for security, a budget for stability, and a budget for the next generation. And hopefully, through this budget, they will be able to live in peace. And I commend this budget to the House with my support. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.